Hey family, welcome back to One on One with Cutting Edge 50. If you're new to the channel, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow. Today, man, we got another video review of my guy, Valuetainment, and he's tackling Kamala Harris' $4 trillion tax plan, and he titles it, Will Destroy the Economy. Now, I don't know if you know anything about it. Generally, I don't do anything with numbers, but I decided to follow the money. And I'm also going to have another video, and it's going to face the deficit in the U.S. And we're going to try to go by states. But when you follow the money, I can tell you right now, it doesn't make sense. The money is not adding up. But sit back, buckle up, and get ready to watch this Valuetainment. Let's go.
Elections have consequences, right? And this is what happens if Kamala Harris becomes the president. They have unveiled their tax plan of how much money they're going to take from you, and it's going to go to the U.S. government. By the way, when you hear this tax...
I said, well, he's going to go into these details. And man, like I said, I watched a little bit of it before. I didn't finish it, but it's going to be shocking to you. I was educational for me because I had a different perception of what I believe tax cuts and tax breaks, what they do for different statuses of people. Let's go.
Wait, when you hear this tax plan, we're going to break it down. Most people don't have time to go through this. We will in a very fast way because here's what's going on. The constant narrative you hear is the wealthy don't pay their fair share in taxes, right? It's the poor that pay the taxes, but not the wealthy. Watch this. Bottom 50% of taxpayers in America versus the top 50%. What percentage of all the taxes in the U.S. do you think the bottom 50% pay? You ready? 2.3%. You know what the top 50% pays? 97.7%. Now, you may say you're a Kamala person. You may say, well, Pat, how about the top 1%? It's the top 1% that's not paying any of the taxes. Really? Here's a chart for you. The top 1% pays 42.3% of all the taxes the government gets. So what the hell is this narrative about the fact that rich people don't pay their taxes? By the way, very simple question you got to ask. This unrealized capital gains that they're talking about on what's going to happen to people over $100 million, we use ChatGPT to find that if...
Now, you already heard them before. Like I said, when I heard these numbers, I was shocked. But you don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to take Patch's word for it. Look it up, research it for yourself, and the numbers don't lie. Certain things add up, but when I start tackling the deficit, just to see, like I said, I don't believe in the party. I believe that it's a uniparty. Pretty much over the last couple of years, what we see Democrats take the House, we see Republicans take the House, but it's always an ongoing battle of systems. I'm going to tear down the policies that you created. I'm going to tear down and rebuild. I'm going to establish my own, but we the ones who suffer at the end of the day. So that was my whole question. Which party actually has done the best for the economy, for the people over the last 10 years? And now, when I started looking at the numbers, of course, it's not adding up when they say, okay, by the deficit by the states, but it's going to be interesting when I go into details. I don't even want to ramble on about that right now. We already see when we're facing the tax breaks, I thought it was wrong. I was like, there's no way that rich people are paying more in taxes, but you got to think about it. Logically, they have more money. So, of course, they get to spend money. You're taxed on the bracket that you're in. Just say now, you make $100,000 more, you're in a different tax bracket. You make $10,000, $20,000 more, you're in a different tax bracket. And they always tax you more. You only can get tax breaks when you maybe are a small business owner or big business and stuff like that. You have employees. So, of course, now you get all these other outlets. You need more tax breaks because you're doing actually more. You're spending more money. You're helping out the economy. And now you have actual value for the way the system works in the U.S. But let's go.
Were to pass, how much a lot of the wealthy people like Musk would have to pay just in unrealized capital gains? We'll show you the number. But the main question you have to answer is the following. Would you rather have all this money go to the government and see how they handle the money? Maybe it'll end up in Zelensky's hands. Or would you rather have this money be in entrepreneurs, job creators like Musk that continue to reinvest into the companies and grow it? Who would you rather trust that money going to? We're going to talk about all of this stuff today. Okay, so if you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And before we go through the entire tax plan Kamala has, let's look at a few different things. Number one, yourself. If you own stocks, if you have money in the stock market, as of July 1st, 2024, the market cap of U.S. stock market was $55.2 trillion. In the last 30 years, the return has been roughly the S&P 500, 10.7%. 158 million Americans own stock. That's 61% of adults. The top 1% owns 54% of the stock. The top 10% owns 89%. The bottom 90% 90% owns only 11%, but the bottom 50% only owns 0.6%. So they don't have a lot of money in the market. Now watch this whole thing when you look at the source of income by AGI percentile.
And I want to look at it myself. So all returns, you see 0 to 80%, 80% to 98%, 98 to 99%, top 0.1, top 0.01. So like I said before, you can take his word for value. That's what's called valuetainment. But he's going over the numbers and he's going to articulate it better than I can. That's why I wanted to actually look at these policies. A lot of people think it's going to be amazing. Oh, she's finally revealing some kind of tax plans, but it's not helping the way we think it actually help. So he's going to the facts. He's going to the data. You can make your own conclusion. Like I said before, always research it for yourself. Let me know what you think. If you're getting in the numbers, if you know somebody who is a tax expert, look at what they have to say. I might add that clip in with this, with other people who actually are attorneys and tax experts actually breaking down the impact of what they're saying this tax bill would do. But that's just our perspective. If you know anything about it, comment, share your thoughts below. Let's go.
Income source for people doing their returns. It's all returns. Then you go to the top 1%, top 0.1%, et cetera, et cetera. Blue represents wages. Yellow is your investment. Gray is retirement income. And orange is business owners. So if you focus on the 0 to 80%, that's the bottom 80% of earners, right? Most of their income, nearly 80% of their income comes from wages. Small portion comes from retirement. That could be Social Security, 401k, and annuity. Very small percentage comes from their investment. And then you got some from their business owner side, the orange. But go to the top 1%, right? That's the 99.99.9. Half is wages. Then you have a little bit from retirement. Look what happens to the yellow. That's the yellow, the investment they want to target. Then you have business owner, right? Now go to the top 0.001%, all the way at the bottom. These are the billionaires, right? Very small is wages. Majority is what? Is investment. You don't even find anything on retirement. And then you have business owner. That yellow is what they want to target. That's called the unrealized capital gains for many. And so if you look at it and say unrealized capital gains, what does it look like? Here's a basic chart to look at. Okay, this chart here tells you in 2022, we don't even have the 2024 numbers. We're just going to look at 2022. Red is unrealized. That means taxes haven't been paid on that. You bought something for $100,000, a stock. Now it's worth $1 million. The $900,000 that you haven't paid taxes on, that's unrealized gains. That's how much it's not been taxed. And even if we break it down a little bit more, this may give you a little bit more context from 89 to.
Yeah, just go ahead and look at that. Hopefully I didn't rewind it by mistake. Come on, I hate when this computer do that. Trying to move me out of the way to get to these charts, man. I apologize for all that. But we just wanted to go ahead and actually pause it, slow it down, and get to these charts. It's going to be a quick video. It's not going to be drawn out. I just wanted y'all to go ahead and see some of these charts, pause it if you can, and just look at it. So we're back at the bulk of national capital gains are never realized and thus never taxed. So these going over the number of taxes paid, 3.4 trillion, taxes paid in the red, what that is, 48.2 trillion. Like I said, we don't get into numbers like this. And a lot of this stuff don't matter to us because we're not extra wealthy. We don't have these incomes. But it do matter when it's coming to the tax gains that they're trying to tax. Let's go ahead and hear him. He's going to articulate it in a different light, a different perspective. But if you're educated on these tax or financial systems, then you already know.
It's from 89 to 2022, $19.5 trillion of capital gains is realized and has been paid taxes of $3.4 trillion. The 48.2 is unrealized. The government wants to tax that. That's what Kamala Harris wants to do. They want to tax the unrealized gains. So again, before we go through the Kamala thing, the main thing I want you to think about is the following. Kamala Harris proposed a billionaire minimum tax target individuals with a net worth of $100 million or more, requiring them to pay a 25% tax on their unrealized gains, profits on assets that haven't been sold. So you own the stock, you own this company, you haven't sold it. The money hasn't come to you. It's sitting there. It's paper rich. She wants 25% of that to be taxed. So we asked ChatGPT. This is what ChatGPT told us, what it will look like if they, by the way, we put the entire tax plan in ChatGPT. That's her plan from her words, their group. And we said, if this was the case, how much would Musk Bezos, Gates, Arnault, all these guys, what would they pay? This is what ChatGPT told us. Musk's unrealized gains is $92 billion. He would have to pay $23 billion of that unrealized. Bernard Arnault has $17 billion. He would pay 4.25. Jeff Bezos will pay 17.5. Gates, $8 billion. Ballmer, 11.3. Zuck, 20.6. Page, 10.7. Ellison, 7.8. Sergey Brin, 10.1. Warren Buffett, 3.2. Now you may say, who cares? These guys can afford it. What's the big deal? Why are you protecting these billionaires? That's not the point. You ready? Let's say you're 62 years old and you have $700,000 in your 401k. You're getting ready to retire in the next 3 to 7 years, right? All of a sudden, this becomes a law. And billionaires' incentive is like, wait a minute, I have to pay this much taxes. Yes, guys, we got to lay people off. We got to fire people. Who? A quarter of the entire employee. We're firing everybody. Are you serious? Yes, because I got to find a way to pay these taxes. I don't know how to do it. I'm going to go broke. Well, that's not fair for you to do this. I have to do it. Boom, the market reacts. All of a sudden, the market tanks 50%. You're 62 years old. You had $700,000 in a 401k. We're hoping to retire by 7 years old, maybe 65 years old. That 700 becomes $350,000 overnight. How much longer do you think you have to work? Oh, it's not going to affect average middle Americans. We're only targeting the wealthy, not average and middle America. Really? Really? What do you think these guys do? You think when the money comes in, they just go buy exotic cars and reinvest into the company? How do you think a company gets bigger by itself or somebody risking, constantly reinvesting? They're delaying the outcome of them taking money off the table. That's a lot of risk when you have paper wealth. So somebody could be worth, there was a time on paper, I was worth a couple $100 million. But in cash, I was only worth $5 million. So well, you are so rich. On paper, but if this thing goes out of business, I'm not worth $200 million because we kept reinvesting and reinvesting. So now let's go and look at this thing, because instead of just looking at all these numbers, let's see how much money Kamala and them are going to be getting. So if you look at their chart, okay, this is
going to be the one that shocked you. Now, I get it, but he's breaking it down to let us know that, yeah, they can tax these extra wealthy millionaires, but who works for them? The middle class works for them. So just like he said, now you got more layoffs. They can't reinvest the business. Businesses go out of business. So it's going to affect us regardless of the fact. They're paying more, they're spending more, but at the end of the day, we're the ones who are going to be hurt. But the government is trying to get that money back because the deficit, we're in so much debt for I don't know what reason, but we'll get into that on this other video. But let's go ahead and continue. Share your thoughts. Let me know what you think about this.
From taxfoundation.org to look at. Here's what you'll come up with. I want to go through all of them, and then I'm going to show you what the total number is at the end. So one by one. This is just for individual revenue raisers for taxes to the government. Raise top tax rate on individuals to 39.6. If you go all the way to the right, you'll see from 2025 to 2034, that's going to generate them an additional $170 billion in 10 years. Next one, tax unrealized capital gains at death over $5 million. Impose a 28% tax rate on capital gains over $1 million, another $171 billion. Expand a net investment tax base to active pass-through income, another $257 billion to the government. Raise the net investment tax income from 3.8 to 5%, another $125 billion. Raise the additional Medicare tax from 0.9 to 2.1. Oh, middle income's not going to pay for it. Who the hell pays that Medicare tax? Only people making over $400,000? Everybody does. That's another $258 billion. Make permanent the limit on excess business losses for pass-through firms, another $20 billion. Next one, 1031 exchange, $500,000 in gain, $20 billion. Tax carried interest as ordinary income, $6.7 billion. Create new limitations on high-income taxpayers with large retirement account balances and increasing minimum required distribution and miscellaneous tax increases on savings, another $63 billion. Tighten the state and gift tax rules, another $94 billion. Miscellaneous tax increases on pass-through firms, another $2.1 billion for a total of what? Roughly $1.2 trillion just on individual revenue. That's you, okay? That's $1.2 trillion over 10 years. But let's continue. Here's corporate revenue raisers. Corporate taxes, let's raise it to 28. $882 billion over 10 years goes from companies to the U.S. government. Next, raise corporate alternative minimum tax from 15 to 21. $346 billion. 21. GILTI minimum tax rate and other GILTI changes, another $278 billion. Repeal FDII, you got $92 billion. Section 265, $187 billion, 4% excise tax on stock buybacks, $79 billion, modifications to 162, limit on deductions of excessive employee remuneration, that's another $265 billion, miscellaneous corporate tax increase, $34 billion, for a total corporate revenue of how much? Another $2.1 trillion. So far, we're at 3.3, 3.4 trillion. Now, here's other revenue raisers, right? Impose a 25% minimum tax on unrealized gains for.
Now, I know these numbers getting boring and boring, but this is important. You know, when you thinking about day-to-day operations, you thinking about what now AI, we already going to be losing hundreds and thousands of jobs. You take this in effect when you come to, if these tax, say account Kamala get in, these taxes get approved, and this is what they implemented. How many more jobs are going to be lost? Just think about it. That's not just me. The numbers going to speak for themselves. If they can't pay taxes and they're taxing all this money on these billionaires or whatever the case, you think they're not going to lay off the workforce? Why not them to make it cheaper? Why not implement more AI? Maybe that's what they want. Who knows? They want AI, and now we all have to depend on the government. But that's just my own thought process. That's my own perception. Share your thought. Let me know what you think. I know these numbers are boring, but check them out, research them, look for yourself, and see how this will affect you in your day-to-day life.
Well, this is the one with $100 million. Look how much it raises. $516 billion. You know what they fear? A guy like Elon Musk becoming too wealthy and buying companies like X, buying companies like, whatever other things he's going to buy. They don't want that kind of control. They want the government to have that control, right? Levy on under-taxed profits, rule on large, $225 billion. Changes on tax compliance and administration, another $224 billion. What's the total here? $766 billion. You know what the total number is? $4.1 trillion over the next 10 years. You know what the question I have for you is? That $4.1 trillion over the next 10 years, who do you trust to do more with that money? The U.S. government or free markets, people that are job creators, entrepreneurs? Who do you think will do more with that? The U.S. government, when they decide, let's send $200 billion, $100 billion to Zelensky, Ukraine. You may disagree. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. You can't be like, I don't like that. They take certain money and they waste it. We're going to put all these battery plants, we're going to invest $500 million. They got 7-8 locations in the span of how many years? They waste all the money. But it's like $500 million. Oh, you know what we're going to do? We're going to be able to take money back because it's not quantitative tightening is what we're going to do. So we're going to buy back $200 billion every month. How are you going to do? We can just do that. Who cares? We can just do that. So if you can manipulate in those areas, why are you trying to take $4.1 trillion away from our hands to the government? Do you really think that's good for you and your family? You really believe that? You think that's good for the economy? Do you think that's good for your 401k? You think that's good for your retirement plan, pension plan? Do you think that that's what they're trying to do with this plan? $21 billion. By the way, if you want the Kamala tax plan, just text us the word taxes to 310-340-1132. We'll send you the link. Again, taxes to 310-340-1132. You'll see it yourself. And by the way, do you know how they manipulate you with this plan to get you to think like this is a good idea? They're like, majority of the people agree that we should tax the people over $100 million in unrealized tax. Of course, it's not their money. Is that supposed to persuade me? Is that supposed to get me to say, oh my God, you're right, because majority agree? Oh, yeah, for sure. Imagine I got 6 people living in a house, 4 kids, me and my wife, right? Imagine my oldest son comes and says, well, Dad, majority of people in this house agree that we should eat ice cream every day. No shit, Sherlock. Majority of people in this house are kids. Or imagine these guys are now 18, 19, 20 years old. And they say, Dad, majority of the people in the family agree that we should not pay rent and we should live here. Of course, majority would agree on that because majority are not contributing towards the lifestyle and the costs and the expenses. That's why they would agree on that. So we can't fall for that trap of majority of the people agree on this plan, et cetera, et cetera. They've been doing this for a while, but a plan like this would destroy the U.S. economy. There's a part of me that thinks they use this to scare the crap out of everybody. And then they go behind closed doors to all the hundreds of millions of dollars that they're getting from these billionaires. And they say, listen, these idiots, these low and middle income families don't understand how taxes work. Trust me, come out. I don't even know how it works, but they definitely don't know how it works. But I can fool them and scare them that I'm going to come back for you. I'm not. But when I say that, please don't feel bad about it. Just know that I'm still with you, right? Because of course I love my billionaire friends because I need your money. Without you, I'd never get elected. Fair? Cool. All these billionaires, terrible people that I have dinner with every night. Oh my God, it's so uncomfortable when they pay for my foie gras.
And man, he's making some excellent points. They need their money. You think they're actually going to tax the extra wealthy who are paying their pockets, who are their boosters, who are their fundraisers? I mean, who give them the money to do whatever they need to do? You think they're actually going to hurt them behind closed doors? I doubt it. So, I mean, he's articulating a better way than I can. Now, hopefully, you see it for yourself. Like I said, he's not educated too much in taxes like that, but his people definitely is. They got the facts, they got the data, they got the stats, and he knows what he's talking about. He's wealthy himself, but he hasn't always been that way, you know. So I just tell people be mindful of what these things they try to trick us, they try to make you think one thing is better to tax the wealthy. I keep hearing that slogan over and over. We're going to
Like
tax
OPP and my all this other stuff, right? These are bad people. In front of you, they're bad people. Behind closed doors, they're kissing their ass because without them, they don't get reelected. You got to pay attention to this because it's your money, your kids' money, your family's money if you don't pay attention to it. If you want this entire thing, text it to you. Text us the word taxes to 310-340-1132. Again, taxes to 310-340-1132. We'll send this over to you. If you got value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, I got another one I want you to watch, The Myth Behind Rich People. If you've never seen it, click here to watch it. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
And like I said before, if y'all don't know anything about Valuetainment, I just wanted to show this quick review of his video. This guy right here is amazing, man. Like I said, I like his style. I like his videos. I like everything that he does when it comes to these talking points because he's telling it how it is. Does he have to? Not really. You know what I mean? But he knows when certain things is right. I don't know what his political party is. Is he for Trump? He's for Kamala. I just don't know. But you know, his name is Patrick Bet David. So Patrick Bet David, and he explains how the Kamala Harris $4 trillion tax plan could impact you. And the video was informative to me. I learned a lot that I didn't know. It helped enlighten me to a different aspect that I look at taxes in a whole new different way. The brackets, the benefits of, you know, everybody having pretty much tax breaks. Because if you tax the wealthy, in the day it's going to trickle down. If they have to shell out more unexpected money instead of reinvesting, creating more jobs and business for us, the middle class people and stuff like that, where are these jobs going to come from? We already know that the times are changing now. They got all this AI, these bots and stuff like that. I see Amazon laying off thousands of employees. Walmart's closing down. Target's, other stores are closing down because now they're getting these bots in their warehouses. It's going to be hard out there for a lot of people. It's affecting everybody. There's inflation. You already know. I don't have to tell you that you used to spend $200 for groceries in your house, and now you're spending $400 or $500 just to feed your family with the same amount of food as you can. So now you can't even get the same amount of food to survive. Something has to go. You know, now you got to either pick up a part-time job, you got to do something else to just make it work. But I'm gonna put some of his connections in there. He has a lot of stuff. He's on Spotify. He's on different platform podcasts, iTunes. He got so much, man. But he should. He got 6 million followers out there. So a lot of people do take pride in just researching him, watching his videos. He got a great following, and he knows what he's talking about. Him and his people are amazing when it comes to creating content like this. And they got the time to do it. I mean, like I said, he's wealthy. This is what he does. But for us to continue to do what we do, you know, we appreciate y'all for sharing, commenting, doing all that good stuff. So eventually we can reach out to our own tax expert so we can see it down, see everything else like this broken down in a day-to-day operations that we can understand as our consumers, as tax-paying citizens, as middle class. You know, we need to see it for ourselves before us to believe it. Sometimes we're hard-headed. We think a certain thing because we see the media out there, or we want to lean towards a specific party for whatever reason. I keep telling you before I was born Democrat, I was always led to believe that the Democratic Party look out for poor people, for minorities, for, you know, especially the black people. That Democrats do it. And once I educated myself, I found out that wasn't the case. 3 strikes, child support system, keep breaking up families. I mean, it goes on and on and on. But what did I know? I didn't research it. I just believe what my family did. You know, that's just what we're doing. Normally, we're indoctrinated in certain beliefs or systems without us even knowing it, and that changes our perspective. If we don't educate ourselves on the current right information, and we know today is all kind of information out there that we wouldn't know. It's contradicting. It's leaning this way, it's leaning that way. But I just always tell people, be mindful, do your own research, find out for yourself. But when it comes to politics, if the government is involved, they don't want the best for the people regardless. It's about the bottom dollar because America is a business. It's not like the same thing we all think in our head that it is. It's a business. So they're going to do the right thing for their business, for their economy. The people, we come last, but they're not going to hurt us to the extent that we can't lean on the government. You know what I mean? So, like I said, the shift is coming regardless of the fact you got more people on the system now than probably ever before. All the jobs, especially after the pandemic. But I don't think that one president can make the difference like that. You know, it's the House, the Senate, it's the state votes that count. It's all that small stuff that ends up coming that we can make policy changes. We can make legislature changes. That's what I'm more passionate about instead of that presidential election. I don't think we have a true voice when it comes to that. You know, these are just head figures on it. The people of power, they're going to put whoever they want in there. I used to think that it was not that. I used to take pride of going ahead and voting, thinking that I'm going to make a difference. My vote could be that vote that's going to win this election or make my candidate of choice for president be in there. You know, it used to be what it was. Roosevelt was the last one, the longest reigning president. They changed that immediately. And I started looking into the reasons why he did it until he passed, what kind of policies that he did. And there was some amazing policies that he put in place that actually helped middle class families and middle class income in America. But it's a whole chart. When I go into the deficit thing, like I said before, I'm going to have maybe 6 or 7 different charts and pages, and they're going to be all over the place. Some of them contradicting, but it's amazing information. I'm going to read it, let y'all see for yourself, make your own judgment. I'm going to try to slow it down, break it down, so you can just get a picture of who knows what, when they tell us something, is it always the truth? You know, we got to think they own the media. You think we're going to put out the same information that can be everything 100% without making it look better for us? Just look at it as a business aspect, you know, but allegedly, I think they do this. I don't know for a fact they do these things like that, but I just learned to trust people instead of a government or a business or an entity that's looking out for their own interests. I don't care which party it is. I believe that if it's great policy in effect, I don't care if it's Democrat or Republican. If you had great policies that was good for the people, I'm not going to come and change it. I might make, it's like, you know, you own a business and you get a new owner out there. You're not just going to come and fire everybody and make immediate changes, but that's what they do. You're going to come and look and see what's not working, and you're going to tweak it a little bit because now you're the owner. So of course you're going to tweak it, but you're not going to make day-to-day changes that's going to affect your bottom dollar. You're not going to do that. But that's how I try to look at it when I look at government or I look at these different parties assuming to take power and stuff like that. They come and change it, and it's just a vice versa all over the years back and forth. I don't know how many policies that get changed, but just take that in the light. But that's my perception. That's my mindset when I look at these videos like this. But I'm going to have a full link to Valuetainment, Valuetainment in the description below. Let me know if you like this video. Let me know if you like the education that you received from it, because it was informative. I know some of these numbers sometimes it'll throw you off your box. It's not too much entertainment. It's not nothing shocking, no drama, no nothing in there. Just information that we need to know. We need to start paying attention to, because it's darker days coming ahead. We already are in a financial hole. And, you know, gas, inflation, food, everything else, but our jobs, our money that we're bringing in is not increasing unless we had a small business. And most of those are gone now. That's just the bottom line. Or we're just barely hanging on because of the pandemic. So, I mean, a lot of people like myself, when it came to businesses, you're struggling to keep on. A lot of people are trying to hold on, but going into more and more debt doing it. Sometimes you got to do the best of whatever's going to work for your family. And that's why we started educating ourselves, researching ourselves, and actually looking at the data for itself. You can believe it or you can't believe it. We're just going to give it and just give our take on it. Now, it's not, I tell people all the time, I don't know if it's no right or wrong on it. It's just information. It's just your perception. You can have your own personal beliefs, but that's it. If you want to have an honest debate, you want to talk about it, comment below. Let me know. Let me know if you appreciate this video. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow. It's your boy, Cut Nice 50. Welcome to One on One with Cut Nice 50. And with that, we out.